What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. It is top transfer targets time. Today I'm talking you through my top 5 players to be buying into your FPL teams. What is up, everyone? FPL Harry here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm taking you through my top 5 transfer targets going into game week 15. Of course, just 2 game weeks to go before now and the World Cup, where we get unlimited transfers, so no point looking at fixtures any further ahead than game week 16. So we're looking at players that we can bring into our team who we hope can explode with FPL points over the next 2 game weeks. Before we dive into the 5 players, a very quick look at the fixtures between now and the World Cup. We have highly owned assets in the likes of Everton, Manchester City, Bournemouth, Brighton coming up at the top. Then slightly highly owned assets like Fulham coming lower down the list as well. I have posted this list across my social media everywhere you could possibly want to find it. It is there if you do want to go and have a bit of a deeper dive. We're going to be focusing on bringing in players high up this top left-hand section, the teams that have 2 nice fixtures between now and the World Cup. It is of course worth noting that there are some teams like West Ham and Manchester City that have 2 home fixtures over the next 2, which is obviously better than having 2 away fixtures like some teams do have in Manchester United, for example. So those are the fixtures, but let's have a look really at the top 5 players I think you should be buying across all positions at the moment. Pick number 1 is forward Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and anyone who knows me, has followed me for a while, knows how much I love green fixtures. Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Everton definitely have 2 very nice fixtures, Leicester at home and Bournemouth away in the next 2. Again, predicted to score 8.4 points over the next 2 games, which is a very good predicted points return. The focal point of that Everton attack, he's likely to be on penalties as well, and just his threats from open play is really good. There is a part of Everton that is focusing on their defensive performances at the moment, but they are playing 2 teams that have been very mixed in terms of their defensive form so far this season. Now, Calvert-Lewin, of course, has been injured for the majority of the season, so not that many stats to write home about. Just 1 goal from his 3 starts so far this season, but with those 2 fixtures between now and the World Cup, I think he can do really well. A lot of people going and buying Callum Wilson at the moment, who has Southampton away and Chelsea at home. I'm going to put my reputation on the line and say I think Calvert-Lewin will outscore Callum Wilson over the next 2 game weeks because of how good those fixtures are for the Everton man. Again, let me know what you think. Would you go for Calvert-Lewin or Callum Wilson? But I'm backing the Toffees to do well in these 2. Next up, we move into defence, and again, a lot of people looking at the Manchester United defence in Luke Shaw and Diego Dalot, and although I think those are both very good picks as well, I'm going with Cresswell of West Ham at 4.8 million, 2.6% owned, as being a massive differential over the next 2. As I mentioned earlier, West Ham are one of those teams that have 2 home fixtures between now and the World Cup. Crystal Palace at home and Leicester at home for Cresswell and West Ham could be a great couple of games to get them a lot of points. They've also qualified from their group in European competition, so there is no need for them to start full squads going into these matches, so Cresswell should be rested in the fixture going into game week 15, and then there is a cup match going into game week 16. So I have no doubt that Cresswell is going to start both of these games. Now, no attacking returns for Cresswell so far, and has returned just 3 points per start so far this season. The West Ham defence has been mixed, but recently their performances have definitely been better. The amount of set pieces he's taking, both free kicks and corners, means I think the returns are definitely there. I would not be surprised if Cresswell absolutely hauls over one of these 2 games, and you need to be buying players who have the potential to give you massive upside, massive explosive points over the next 2 games before the World Cup. And in defence, I think Cresswell has the ability to do that more than those Manchester United assets do. Again, West Ham with 2 home fixtures, whilst Manchester United have 2 away fixtures, which again just favours it slightly more in Cresswell over the likes of Luke Shaw and Diego Dalot. Talking of Manchester United, pick number 3 is the man of the moment, is Marcus Rashford. 6.6 million at time of recording, 17.8% owned, and likely to see his ownership increase more and more before the game week 15 deadline. A quick reminder, so much information is going to come in between now and the deadline. We might even get early team news again on teams like Manchester City, as there are so many games kicking off at 3 p.m. on Saturday. So do hold your transfers if you can. I'll be making my transfers on my deadline stream going going into the Game Week 15 deadline. Predicted to score 7.2 points over the next couple of games. Again, his performances so far this season with 4 goals and 2 assists have left something to be desired, which is why potentially his predicted points are slightly lower than a couple of the players we're going to look at in this video, but he can definitely do well. Marcus Rashford has done better at home this season than he has done away from home, is the only thing to bear in mind, but 2 good away fixtures nonetheless, Aston Villa and Fulham being very nice for Marcus Rashford. Again, his 5.2 points per start. His goal this week took his points per start over 5, and I think he will continue to do well. Playing up front for Manchester United, again, looking pretty comfortable in Europe as well, so I do think there's a good chance he starts both of these, even with Cristiano Ronaldo tapping on the door, potentially wanting that central lineup position. Now, if Anthony comes back, exactly how he fits in, or Jadon Sancho potentially wanting starts, I do think it's Marcus Rashford's place to lose given his performances in recent weeks. So I wouldn't worry about his minutes. It's just the 2 away games, but at his price, you can't really complain given the form that him and Manchester United are showing. Pick number 4, it is a forward, a cheaper forward in Scamacca. If you have the money to go up to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I really like him, but another cheap option you could go with is Scamacca of West Ham. We spoke about Cresswell. The 2 home fixtures that West Ham do have in Crystal Palace and in Leicester could bode very well for Scamacca as a good forward to be going for at just 6.7 million. If you have the likes of Mitrovic, can't go up to Callum Wilson, can't go up to Calvert-Lewin, then I think Scamacca is definitely the one I'd go for. Now, he's only scored 2 goals this season, but what's really interesting is both his goals this season have come in home fixtures. He looks much more at home when he does play a home fixture versus when he goes away. He looks a little bit isolated in the way West Ham are lining up, and given West Ham have 2 home fixtures in Game Week 15 and Game Week 16, as you can see, they're 2 green fixtures, predicted to score 6 points over the next 2. Again, slightly lower because of only scoring 2 goals this season, and Antonio potentially offering a slight bit of rotation risk, although I don't think it's going to be there. I think West Ham assets could be big differentials over the next couple of weeks. Everyone already owning Bowen, I would definitely hold him, although if I was buying, I think Cresswell and Scamacca are better and cheap alternatives to go for. And finally, pick number 5 is Leandro Trossard of Brighton. 6.9 million and 20% owned. He has done really well over the last couple of games, scoring in fixtures that we didn't necessarily expect him to against both Manchester City and Chelsea. And now the fixtures do look green before the World Cup, with Wolves away, Aston Villa at home as well in Game Week 16. If you can't buy Trossard this week, he's definitely one I would consider buying in Game Week 16 as well, with Aston Villa at home where they are conceding a lot of chances. Predicted to score 8 points, which is one of the highest for a player of his price over the next 2 games in Game Week 15 and Game Week 16 combined. 7 goals and 2 assists for him so far this season. That main point of that Brighton attack, really consistent in terms of FPL returns. Although he blanked against Nottingham Forest in Game Week 12 when we all needed him, I do think he's the best asset to be going and owning from that team. Again, over 6 points per start now, given the returns he's shown in recent weeks. So if it was him versus Marcus Rashford, I do think I would go and buy Leandro Trossard just because of the home fixture they do have and how Marcus Rashford has done slightly better at home whilst having 2 away fixtures this week. But I would not put you off going for Marcus Rashford if you do like him as well at the moment. So top 5 transfer targets. We've had a defender in Cresswell. We've had midfielders in Marcus Rashford and Leandro Trossard. We have had forwards as well. Slightly more expensive in Calvert-Lewin and a cheap option in Scamacca as well. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to try and hit 1,000 likes on the video. There will be a team selection video and a deadline stream going into Game Week 15 where hopefully we get some team news going into the deadline where we can make the best decisions for our teams as we can. So turn on notifications if you have not already. Subscribe to the channel. Again, thank you all so much for your support. 37,000 subscribers is so close. Help me get there. 1,000 likes. Good luck in Game Week 15 if I don't see you before then, but I'll be back again very soon.